Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Andy's Witchcraft by me, Sacred Moon. I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far. Today's episode, we are going to discuss one of my spirit guides who I work closely with. But before we get to that, I do want to put a disclaimer on this episode that it will contain mentions of mental disorders and incest. If these topics trigger you, I'm letting you know now so that you can close your tab, stop the episode, and walk away. I know these topics are not for everybody, but the reason they are mentioned is because it revolves around the life of this saint. So we kind of have to at least have brief mentions of it. So with that being said, I'm assuming those who want to listen are listening, and let's get started. The saint we are talking about today is Saint Dymphna. Now, some of you may know her, but others she may be completely new. So, who is Saint Dymphna, you may be asking? She's also known as the Lily of Eir, or Lily of Ireland, or Lily of Fire. Her feast day is celebrated on May 15th, and she was canonized as a saint in the year 1247. She is the patron saint of those suffering from nervous and mental afflictions, as well as victims of incest and runaways. Saint Dymphna's life and death is a very complicated one, so bear with me. Dymphna was born in Ireland sometime in the 7th century. Her parents were a pagan king named Damon and a devout Christian mother. At the time, it was not uncommon for interspiritual marriages. Christians often did not marry one another. They would marry those from outside their religion, especially if they were members of royalty, like Dymphna's father. When Dymphna was 14 years old, she consecrated herself to Christ and took a vow of chastity. Soon afterwards, her mother passed away, unfortunately, and her father, who loved his wife deeply, began to suffer a rapid deterioration of his mental stability. As this instability grew, he slacked in his kingly duties. It was so noticeable and so extreme that his counselors suggested he remarry, and he agreed on the condition that the woman he married was as beautiful and closely resembled his deceased wife. Damon sent messengers throughout the land to find women of noble birth who resembled his wife, but unfortunately he could not find a single woman whose beauty held a candle to his deceased wife's. At this time, the advisors grew desperate. They wanted their king back, and they decided to suggest that he marry his own daughter, and Damon consented to this arrangement. It's important to note that during this time period, incest was not uncommon, and it was acceptable practice. Thank the gods above, we know better now, because it definitely is not acceptable, especially when it's forced. When Dymphna heard of her father's plan, she decided to flee. And she fled with a priest named Jerebren. And she also fled with 2 trusted servants and the king's fool. The group sailed toward modern-day Belgium and hid in the town of Giel. Now, nobody can be 100% certain what happened next, but what is believed and told is that when the group settled in Giel, Dymphna decided to build a hospital for the poor and sick. She became empathetic towards those suffering from mental disorders, and this was most likely due to her witnessing her father's mental decline and knowing that if he got support, that he never would have resorted to marrying his daughter to find happiness. She knew that those going through similar or same things needed help, and she wanted to be the one to provide that help. Meanwhile, Damon was furious that Dymphna left, and so he sent royal spies to track down Dymphna. They traveled all over Ireland, and somehow they wound up in Belgium. Unfortunately, in using her wealth, Dymphna's location was discovered. Let me explain. When Dymphna used her wealth, she paid for everything using Irish coins. Being in Belgium, this was not a common thing to see. Irish coins were not commonly used. And so the townspeople were spreading the word that an Irish girl came to town and was spending Irish coins to build asylums and safe houses. Somehow, the royal spies caught word of this, traveled back to Damon to report that they had found his daughter, and Damon traveled back with his soldiers to bring Dymphna back home. When he found his daughter, he captured Dymphna and those who helped her escape. He ordered that the priest be beheaded and attempted to convince Dymphna to return home and marry him. When Dymphna refused, Damon became enraged. He drew his sword and he beheaded his own daughter. Dymphna was 15 years old. Soon afterward, the residents from the hospital collected Dymphna and Gerebrand's remains and laid them to rest in a cave. Dymphna received the crown of martyrdom around the year 620, and when she received this crown, this is when she got her nickname Lily of Eir. In 1349, a church honoring Saint Dymphna was built in Geel, and by 1480, many people arrived in need of treatment for mental ills. So much so that the church was expanded. This expanded sanctuary was eventually overflowing again, and the townspeople began to accept them into their homes. This began a tradition of care for the mentally ill that continues to this day in Ireland and other places in Europe. You know, people will take in those who need treatment into their own homes, and it's just a wonderful way to show support. And honestly, this is how God said love one another. And I really loved hearing about this tradition because of that. And I realize now this is why Saint Dymphna became a saint, because she truly showed these people, this country, how to love one another. In the 15th century, the original Saint Dymphna church in Geel burned to the ground, and the new church of Saint Dymphna was erected and consecrated in 1532, where it still stands to this day, right above the location where her body was originally buried. Those who visited the church reported many miraculous healings, especially those afflicted with epilepsy and mental illness. The priest who helped Dymphna was also sainted, and his remains were moved to Xanten, Germany. The United States National Shrine of St. Dymphna is located at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Massillon, Ohio, and St. Dymphna's special school can be found in Ballina, County Mayo, Republic of Ireland. That's about St. Dymphna's life, how she's venerated by the church, and how she's just honored. So I want to discuss quickly how she's depicted in art. So statues, paintings, let's go. Saint Dymphna is portrayed with a crown on her head, dressed in royal robes, and holding a sword. And that sword symbolizes her martyrdom. She is also sometimes shown holding a lamp, possibly because this is how she lit the way to the hospitals and asylums that she built. Other times, holy cards feature her wearing green and white, holding a book, and white lilies. Now, obviously, white lilies because she's the lily of Ireland, the lily of fire. So lilies are they're a very common symbol of her. Now, one thing I have to go, because you guys know, if you've listened to my episodes before, you know I have to go not off topic, but you have to hear me vent a little bit about certain things, and this is no different. So, to be honest, let me say it pisses me off when people, especially evangelicals, make the fact that she was a virgin the central reason why she was a saint. She should not be called a saint just because, this 14-year-old was so wise. She made a solemn vow of chastity. Like, that in of itself does not make you worthy of being a saint. There has to be more to it. So when prayers refer to her as a holy virgin, It just gives me the ick because she was a 15-year-old girl. Why are we focusing on a 15-year-old's virginity? That should not be. That again, she should not be called a saint just because she was a virgin, or that should not be the sole thing we're focusing on. She's a saint because of the people she helped. Again, she showed people how to love one another, how to trust one another, and help others towards recovery. She's a saint because of the fact that she helped raise awareness for mental health supports in a time where people blamed mental disorders on demonic possession. Her virginity is an insignificant detail. That should not matter. We should not be focusing on that. What matters is the impact she made despite all the trauma she faced at her home life. The fact that she used her fortune to help others, even though she knew there was a risk of her father finding her, that makes her a saint. And that is what we're going to focus on. So when you think of Saint Dymphna, I want you to focus on that. Helping one another, raising awareness for mental health supports. That is the focus. So, that being said, the question lies on what can you work with Saint Dymphna for? Obviously, working with Saint Dymphna to help address mental health challenges is great. Same if you're neurodivergent. So she can help, not cure. I'm not saying if you pray to her, she's going to cure you. That's not how it works. But she can help manage symptoms. If there's certain symptoms that you want to pray to alleviate, she can help with that. She can give you the strength so that you can work towards, alleviating any symptoms you're facing. And, the same thing for, epilepsy. Now, miracles do happen. I believe in miracles. I don't know if you do, but I do. And there have been cases where people prayed to her and their epilepsy, they got less seizures. Some completely eliminated seizures. And they've been going years now without having a seizure. So, again, this is not me saying prayer always works. Prayer is going to cure your illness. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is she can help you address mental health challenges. She can help you address any challenges that you face. And she can help you find the strength to navigate life with these challenges. Really, in saying this, Saint Dymphna is just a great saint to work with during inner child healing and shadow work, especially to overcome traumas you faced, especially if they involve parental abuse, because that's kind of her specialty. She was a runaway. She escaped a toxic home life. So she can help you find the strength to do the same. Honestly, sometimes I just, have conversations with Saint Dymphna in my room where I'm just sitting there and I'm like, listen, do you not know what I dealt with today? You need to hear the SHIT stuff that I dealt with today. And Dymphna will be like, okay, Spill the tea. Tell me what's on your mind. Let me be like your therapist, your therapist guy. That's what I call her, really. I kind of consider her my therapist saint. Speaking of which, you could also, if you're planning on going into the mental health field or social services field, Saint Dymphna is the saint for you. I plan on either pursuing clinical psychology or clinical social work, and so I'm praying to Saint Dymphna and working closely with her to help develop my career path. And you can do the same thing too. I highly recommend it. Again, she was raising awareness for mental health supports before anybody else in that country at that time period. So she's kind of like a specialization in this. And so if you want help, please, Saint Dymphna, give me the trait of empathy, because empathy is crucial for therapeutic practices. Please, Saint Dymphna, help me be an empathetic person. She's got your back. She can help you with that. Please, Saint Dymphna, give me the patience to listen to all my patients all day, or clients. Give me the strength to listen to them without it deteriorating my mental health. She's got your back. Anything revolving mental health, whether you're the mental health supporter or the supportee, the client, she can help you with. And so that is the gist. And I really hope you continue to research St. Dymphna if you're hoping to go on the mental health path, because she really is great. Highly recommend her. I will vouch for her all day, every day. Finally, I'm going to talk about some offerings for St. Dymphna, so let's get started with that. The first one, which is common for a lot of saints, is the Novena. I'm going to copy the link to a website that I follow when praying the Novena. Just a disclaimer, most websites, obviously, that have prayers are evangelical, but you could kind of ignore anything you disagree with and just take what prayers you like. That's the beauty of the Novena. You don't have to follow the prayers listed online. You can get your own ideas. You could come up with your own prayer to say for 9 days. What matters more is the intention and energy that you're putting into praying the Novena. So, that being said, I'll still put the link below, but don't think, oh, I have to say this specific prayer. You don't have to. And speaking of novenas, for those of you who do not know, a novena is a prayer that is read every day for 9 days straight. That's the novena, no for 9, I'm sure, in some Latin language. And it is said when you pray a novena and state your intention every day for 9 days, you will be able to manifest that intention through the intercession of the saint you are praying to. And in this case, it will be Saint Dymphna. So, I really hope you try this. I did it. My intention didn't work, unfortunately, when I did the novena, but that's not to say that it will never work. I'll tell you, I prayed that someone in my life who has lost their ability to walk, I prayed to her that they would be able to walk again, and they unfortunately have not yet. However, after I prayed the novena, they began to speak a little more. They also lost the ability to speak. So, give and take, they didn't walk, but they started to speak. And I believe it's because, your ability to speak is a little more important than your ability to walk, especially if you don't know sign language, like this individual in my life does not. So, that's that. Don't expect it to automatically come true. Sometimes something better comes along, and sometimes something more important comes along, and the saint's like, no, we're going to focus on this instead. So that's that. You could also offer white lilies, or lilies of any color really, but white lilies mostly, because that's what she's portrayed holding. Again, because of her nickname, you could offer that. You could also offer, obviously, candles, and anything with a flame, a lamp even, because the lily of fire is her name, and so the fire aspect you could give her. Again, she lit the way for those who needed a guide to get to her asylums, so to offer her candles and lamps is like you're giving her that flame to guide people along their life. So that's something that you can offer to her. You could also offer poems and music. I have a playlist full of songs that I dedicate to Saint Dymphna. Some are prayers, worshipy stuff, but others are secular songs that relate to fighting for your freedom, overcoming mental health challenges, and so on. I will link that Spotify playlist below if you are interested. And finally, as someone who plans on working in the mental health field, I offer up my career aspirations to Saint Dymphna, asking her to help me be strong enough to handle the challenges that come with working in the mental health field, especially as someone who has dealt with trauma in the past. So, those are all the offerings I thought of. If you can think of more, go ahead. But for now, these are kind of like the basic go-to offerings that I give to Saint Dymphna. Now, usually in my podcast episodes, I say a prayer of some sort, or I read Bible verses, usually. Now, because Saint Dymphna is not mentioned in the Bible was written before her time. So There's obviously no Bible verses. However, I wanted to say a quick prayer to Saint Dymphna. If you don't want to pray, that's fine. If you were just more interested in her life and offerings, you can stop the episode. I won't be offended. But I will end off with a prayer. So here it goes. Hear us, O God, our Savior, as we honor Saint Dymphna, patron of those afflicted with mental and emotional illness. Help us to be inspired by her example and comforted by her merciful help. Almighty and loving Father, by the example of Saint Dymphna and by her intercession, protect all those afflicted by tension and emotional stress, to enjoy your protection in life and eternal happiness in your presence, now and forever. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. That is the end of this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all learned a little something about Saint Dymphna. And I really, really hope that you're encouraged to reach out to her because she's very helpful. Everybody has mental health challenges, and I feel like she can help benefit a lot of people if you choose to work with saints, that is. That being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, give it a follow. If you liked my content, you want to see more, you could follow me on social media. That link will be in the link tree below. If you want to book a divination reading, maybe you want a message from Saint Dymphna. I do tarot, oracle, pendulum readings with Saint Dymphna from time to time. And so if you're interested in one, you can book a reading with me. That's also in the link tree below. If you have a video idea, you want to listen to a podcast episode on a certain topic related to witchcraft, Christianity, or Buddhism, put it in the video ideas. There is a Google form in the link tree below. Just click on the video ideas tab and fill out the form, and I will do a video on it. Finally, if you want an accepting community of witches from all paths of life, and you want to join on monthly events and activities, and you want resources to help you on your witchcraft journey, my server, The Crystal Caverns, can help you with that. So that's in the link tree below as well. Join us. We'd love to have you. That is about it. Thanks for sticking around for all that. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Blessed be everyone. Have a wonderful day, a week, month, and year.